All right, everybody, this is Nash here, and today we're going to be talking about the Texas Longhorns facing off against the Michigan Wolverines in Ann Arbor tomorrow at noon. Now, real quick, I do want to apologize. Been really inactive this week. First, I had to drop my dad off at brain surgery. Then immediately after that, I get sick with the flu. I'm just now starting to get to where I can actually talk and not have to cough or anything like that. Still a little stuffy, but we're pretty well past it. I'm feeling great. So thank you for all those people that have been saying, "Hey, hope you feel better." I'm feeling a lot better. I'll be feeling a lot better tomorrow. The Texas Longhorns again facing off against the Michigan Wolverines. The Michigan Wolverines are coming off a national championship. This should be a this should be one of the top games of the year. Michigan is a they're ranked ninth, I believe. Top 10 matchup. Blue Bloods. What's not to love about this? So, if you like the video, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then comment down below your thoughts to the game. Give me a prediction down below, too. So, without further ado, let's just hop right on into it. Now, we'll start off with last week. The Michigan Wolverines, they faced against Fresno State, a Mountain West team, similar to Colorado State, where you face a Mountain West team. And they didn't look that great. Not at all. I know, like, there's been there's been a lot of back and forth between Texas fans and Michigan fans, but Michigan, it was Fresno State at 10 points. It was a 10 to 23 game, and Fresno State was pushing down the field into the red zone, about to put up their 17 points, and this is late in the game. And a problem with that, the main problem that I have with that is Michigan allowed you late in the game. That's when you should be dominating these lesser teams. You should either be like it should be a one or the other thing. Look at how because I know Washington fans and or not Washington fans, Michigan fans, because this is a great example. They were using well, look at how y'all played Wyoming. Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. As soon as the fourth quarter hit, boom, it was separated. Texas just jumped out. That didn't happen versus Fresno State for Michigan. Michigan had to get a pick six while Fresno State was in the red zone after they ran the same play 3 times in a row. This is not the same as Texas. As soon as the fourth quarter hits, you're not playing 3 quarters, you're playing 4 quarters. And as soon as the fourth quarter hit, boom, it was a different ball game. Texas, they similarly got a pick six early in the fourth quarter, but that's not where it ended. We just kept going on the gas, and then by the time it was like 5:52 or something, like at the same point, Texas had already gotten their 31 points, and then we were just let's get the clock out of here and let's just go home. We're already home, but you get the point, and let's just end this game. Michigan allowing Fresno State to not only hang in the game, but have a legit chance to. If they had scored, it's a defensive stop away from having a chance to push the ball down the field and tie the game. And that's a problem. That's not the same as Texas versus Wyoming last year. If you are in Michigan, you are in Texas, you need to be beating these teams. It's not the same as Texas versus Rice, where Texas, we just jumped out to a huge lead, and then Rice, they're pushing the ball late down the field. Well, that's against the twos. There's a big lead, and similarly to what I was going to bring up here in a second, but I'll say it now. The discipline, like that's when you can start to lose a little bit of lapse in discipline and say, hey, you know what, game's over. We got in the bag. It's done. And then you make one mistake, and Luke McCaffrey scores. That's how these things start to happen, and that's how you lose a shutout. Michigan was nowhere near this. It was a very, very bad game for Michigan, and I don't know how, if you're a Michigan fan, that you can point to it and go, man, Natty's coming, baby. Like, that has to be showing you, hey, there are glaring red signs, glaring weaknesses. Not Kendall. Kendall. I think it's Kendall. Kendall Mullings looks really good. That dude, in my opinion, looks better than Donovan Edwards. Now, to use what Joel Klatt had said, Joel Klatt said, "Hey, look, Donovan Edwards, If it's blocked for 2 to 4, he's going to get you 2 to 4. If it's blocked for 8, he's going and hitting a home run. He hits singles and he hits home runs. Kendall Mullings is a guy that's going to hit doubles and triples all day. But majority of the offense for Michigan went through Kendall Mullings and Colston Loveland. 66.5% of the yardage, to be exact. And that's a massive problem, especially when you're going up against facing a very good Texas defense. I know I've seen some creators from the Michigan side, looking at you, Carter Cast, going and saying, "Oh well, look, they're ranked like 65th against the run." I understand. Yes, it was Colorado State. I had to kind of look back and go, "Oh my goodness, wait a second, this dude just broke off 4 big games before playing us. This guy might be legit. That running back that we faced might be legit. Now, is it 100% certain? No. Texas might have taken a step back, which I predicted would happen in the rush defense. I don't think we're going to be elite, but I don't think we're going to be bad. And I don't think we were bad either. It was a ton of 4-yard carries, 3-4-yard carries. Boom, 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 that just stack up, and then it just got to a lot of yardage. Outside of that, Colorado State had nothing. Pass game shut down. And I think you're going to see something similar happen with Michigan. I mean, they're relying on a quarterback, Davis Warren. Did I just? Yeah, no, Davis Warren. I don't know why I thought I bleeped that, but Davis Warren, fifth year senior. He was a former walk on. It's a great story by all means. But he's just not the level of passer that I think you need to be able to beat this Texas pass defense. Because I think that this pass defense is elite for Texas. Going on to, I know a lot of Michigan fans are excited about Alex Orji. Here's the problem with Orji. He's very predictable. He's going to pull the ball every single time. Every single time he pulls the ball. And the Fresno State game might have given Michigan fans a little bit of false confidence because, yeah, Orji looked good. But every single time that he pulled the ball, the defender crashed on in. I don't know why you would crash. Like, you got to hold your responsibility, and you got to watch that ball leave Orji's hands before you crash. When you're facing a guy like Orji that can run like Orji, because he can run. I'm not saying he can't. But when you face a guy like that, you have to focus on your responsibility. And I don't think Fresno State was focusing on the responsibility, and that made his rushing look a little bit better than it was. I think an Anthony Hill has the speed. A David Benda has the speed to get out there and meet Orji around the edge and prevent him from getting big yards. I think our edges, that's one of our deepest position groups on this team this year. 5-star Colin Simmons is a third string. He has a NASCAR package where he's in the first string, which I can't wait to see that like really get used. But man, we are loaded at the edge, and that's what you want when you're facing a runner like Alex Orji. Again, Davis Warren, he is the better passer of the football, but I'm not. He's mid. Let's just call it what it is. He's mid. He's mid passing the football. And the problem with that is you pair that with a bunch of unexperienced wide receivers. He's only got one real pass catcher, and that's the tight end, Colston Loveland. And then you could consider Donovan Edwards. Donovan Edwards did not look that great. But again, to Joel Klatt's point that I mentioned, if it's blocked for 2, he's going to go for 2. If it's blocked for 8, he's going to go for a home run. But here's the problem. Michigan has a brand new offensive line. Whole new offensive line. Brand new coach. Yes, the offensive line coach is now the head coach. And you'd think, okay, well, maybe there's some continuity there. Maybe they weren't looking that great. 3rd and 1. You need a yard. Pushing Fresno State back. That should be simple. It should be just a mundane task. It's as simple as we are stronger than you. We're going to push you that way. What do you think happened to Donovan Edwards? He got stuffed at the line of scrimmage on 3rd and 1. 3rd and inches. It's just And that even might have been 4th and 1 now that I think about it. But just the offensive line was not doing great, specifically the interior of the offensive line. And I really think that that could be a big problem facing Texas because Texas has legit SEC depth on on this defensive line. They may not all be like, look, we may not have the T'Vondre Sweat, we may not have the Byron Murphy this year, but what we do have is we have some good football players, and we got them deep. So that's one thing that's going for Texas's favor. Now, as for the pass defense, I just look. Will Johnson did have that pick six at the end that iced the game, but then again, I mean, it was that game got dangerously close to becoming a 17-23 ball game, and all Fresno State has to do is make one defensive stop and get the ball back. And the problem that I have with that is back to the separation. Like they just didn't separate like we did versus Wyoming. Because if you want to mention the Wyoming, that's fine, fair. But I'm also going to point out when y'all did go push the ball down the field, okay? It was 10-16, a 10-16 ball game. They go and push the ball down, 10-16 ball game with 5 minutes and 52 seconds left. They get the ball in the end zone. That should be the end of it. You should get the stop immediately after that, and it's done. That's not at all what happened. This is a team that they allowed a Fresno State to stay in it, and I think that comes down to conditioning and discipline. If Fresno State had the bodies that Michigan has, Fresno State wins. If they had the same, just the same level of players, top of the level Division I players, the same players that go to Michigan are not going to Fresno State. These are two vastly different teams in talent level. And I just, man, and you know what? To the Michigan fans' point, I think that maybe last year, had Texas played a Wyoming team that had as much talent as Texas does, maybe we lose that game too. Maybe we lose that game. But I don't think it's a for sure loss like I think Fresno State would have. I am very confident in saying Fresno State would have won that game if they had the same level of bodies. Now, on to the Texas game. Michigan, what are they going to try and do? They are going to try and run the ball and control the clock. You've heard if you listen to the words that Sherrone Moore is saying, he's not necessarily hiding it, and I think that he just believes that this is the best. That's the best way to beat Texas. Why? Because it's happened multiple times. That's really, if you look at Washington and Kalen DeBoer has laid out the blueprint on how to beat a Texas team. You just don't allow them to hold the football. And if you can keep the football out of their hands, then you got a shot to beat Texas. Now, I don't see that going for Sherrone Moore and the Michigan Wolverines. I don't see that going their way. I think that, well, like I said, this rush defense it's not elite, right? But it's not bad. And it's better than good. It's probably really good, but it's not elite. I just don't think you're going to be able to do that against a Texas rush defense like this, especially with a brand new offensive line. If we're talking about last year's offensive line, whole different story. Completely different story. But all those dudes are playing in the NFL now. They're either on a 53-man roster or they're on a practice squad roster. So I don't think that that's going to work in their favor. I see their offense too weak right now. And maybe by the end of the year, it becomes stronger. And through more reps with the offensive line, maybe they're able to go through and actually, do what they want to do and dominate people on the offensive line and dominate the line of scrimmage. I just can't see that happening against Texas. The pass defense. There were open wide receivers versus Fresno State. It's just I can't. If Quinn Ewers plays like he did versus Colorado State, or if he plays like he does, forget about that. Quinn Ewers in big games. There's been 2 games in his career, well, 3 really. But Alabama, I'm not counting Alabama because he got injured in the first quarter after he put up 175 yards. He was well on pace to hit 300. Quinn Ewers in big games, he plays big. He plays really well in big games. This is a guy that outside of in his first year, really is that's the only time in his first year at Texas. That's the only time he hasn't thrown for 300 yards in a game versus a ranked team. If we're playing a ranked team, Quinn Ewers has thrown for 300 yards every single time except for year one. And year one, I'm still counting Alabama because 175 yards in one quarter. It was like what 9 of 12 or something like that. He was 75%, 175 yards, like one or two times. He was looking very good early on. Now, all that to say, I see him having another big game, picking apart this defense for Michigan on the back end, which they lack the speed. They don't have the same speed that our wide receivers have. And that's going to be a problem. And it just doesn't stop at the wide receivers. Jaden Blue has speed. Trey Wisner has speed. You go look at, and even at the tight end room, right? If we need speed at the tight end room, you got Amari Niblack. That dude has, for a tight end, he is very fast. For a wide receiver, he's probably, but nevertheless, when you're talking about, it doesn't even matter whether it's Jonte Cook, DeAndre Moore, Silas Bolden, or Isaiah Bond, Matthew Golden. Blanking. Oh my god. Hold on 1 second. Can't believe I forgot Ryan Wingo's name. I knew, I was like, there's a sixth name that I'm blanking on. Ryan Wingo. They're all fast. They're all fast. And when you have to put your fastest guys on these fast guys, you're probably leaving a slow guy for Amari Niblack, or who is most likely going to get the most amount of reps. And I'm fine with that because he's really good, Gunnar Helm. So I know Michigan fans, they have a ton of confidence going into this game. But you look at, they showed a lack of discipline versus Colorado or versus Fresno State. Whereas Texas, every single play. If they're maybe a couple plays, handful of plays, they lost discipline. If they ever lost discipline, they immediately got it right back. This is a team that is focused. They are on a mission. They have a purpose. Jahdae Barron didn't just come back for no reason. Jahdae Barron is playing like he has a purpose, and he is leading this team. You also go look. They were focusing on Michigan the second that the game ended. They weren't enjoying a win. They said, hey, no one leaves. Cold tub now. Recovery now. You start that now, so by the time Monday comes around, we're good to go, and we can focus and we can prepare the right way that we know how. This is a fun time to be a Texas Longhorn fan because it really does feel like we're right on the cusp of becoming a dynasty. And this is one of those games. This is the type of game that says, "Hey, we're here. We've been gone for a little bit, right? Yeah, the whole we're back, all that stuff was fun, right? Texas made the cultural playoff, all that, cool. But no, we're serious. We're going to go dominate another top 10 blue blood at their house. And Texas fans are going to travel well. They have been, all the posts on Twitter that have been making me jealous. Jealous as all get out. I really wish I was there. I should have not making that mistake again. I made the mistake versus Alabama. I made the mistake versus Michigan now. I'm going to go to the Horseshoe next year and watch Texas play Ohio State. I'm not missing that game. Won't allow myself to. But Texas fans are traveling well. There was somebody that posted a photo. They were saying, "Hey, from St. Louis. These are fans in St. Louis, all burnt orange everywhere, at baggage carousels." and they're all flying up to they're flying to Ann Arbor. Planes are just planes headed to Ann Arbor right now are littered with burnt orange, and that stadium, it'll be interesting to watch how much of the fans are there, how many Texas fans are there, because we are traveling well. So this really, it does feel like a coming out party for a potential future dynasty in Texas. And it would be really cool because I mean, Steve Sarkisian. Look, hey, Steve Sarkisian, he's had this happen at Alabama. He's had this happen, or what I mean, he's had experience under a dynasty at Alabama, at USC. It'd be cool if he could build one. So I know it's kind of unstructured, but going to some defensive statistics and offensive statistics right here. Uh, Look, Texas on offense is elite. Michigan on defense is elite, right? So far, defense, same thing for Texas. Offense, not so much on Michigan. And specifically the passing offense. You look at this, it is. Look, and I'll say this: take all this with a grain of salt. There's been one game played versus both versus Mountain West schools. I said this in an article that I just put out on Twitter. It's taking stats like and just going, hey, boom. I'm gonna like this. This is, you know what? That's gospel right there. Taking these stats for gospel, I don't advise doing that because it's the equivalent of having like a 1,000 piece puzzle, and you've never seen the picture for it, but you're putting it together. It's about 1/12 of the way through. You're so curious about what is this puzzle, and then you go, oh wow, I can't tell. You got you got to wait till you get halfway through before you're like, oh wow, I can kind of get an idea of what this is going to be. You're intrigued when you're 1/12 of the way through, and that's where I am. But you cannot take these stats for gospel because they can change drastically. The Texas pass defense could easily go down. I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to stay elite, but they could. Uh, uh, to a good point for Texas, the rush defense, they could get those numbers could get better throughout the year as the year goes on when we face more running backs. Because like I said, the running back that we faced, Marshall, that is a very good running back. He's going to be an NFL running back. Book it, bookmark it. Throw this video back in my face in a couple years if you have to. But I think that this Texas defense is going to go out there and dominate a game. Texas is going to jump out in front, and the game plan for Michigan is going to end up having to be scrapped very early on, and they're going to be left scrambling, and it's not going to look good. So, all that to say, I got a really confident. I feel very confident in Texas, and I'm prediction time right here. So, I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. Go out and say it. I got Texas. Let me see. Looking at the wrong one. Okay. Offensive MVP, Quinn Ewers, as always. Defensive MVP, Anthony Hill Jr. Quinn Ewers stat line, I got him 405 yards, 27 for 33, 4 passing touchdowns. Mm. I don't. I'm actually like right now. I'm kind of almost going back on that because I don't think that if you look at it, and maybe this is see the reason why I went with this is because I'm kind of following a similar game plan to how we played Oklahoma State, and I think that this is very similar in how this is going to go because they're similar teams, and the fact that Oklahoma State they have Ollie Gordon, they were going to run the ball like you knew what they were going to do. They don't have as well, and mm, see this is where the defense is not the same level that Michigan was last year. I'm not saying they're a bad defense. I'm not even close to saying that. They're a really good defense. They're a good defense. They got some very good defensive players that are going to be playing on Sundays. But I just, man, I don't think they're Oklahoma State level defense that bad. I think they're a little bit better. but I see a similar game plan. I'm going to stick with the 405 yards. I was thinking about lowering it. I'm going to stick with that. Jaden Blue, 110 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. Uh, Leading receiver. Isaiah Bond, 120 yards, receiving, obviously. 2 touchdowns. And then the final score, I got the University of Texas winning 38-17 in Ann Arbor. All right, everybody. Hope you all have a great day. And as always, hook 'em!